Two prominent communities in the Falkland Islands went head-to-head in a variety of sports. The capital, Port Stanley, faced Mount Pleasant military personnel, with the victor lifting the prestigious Silver Lady Shield. Stanley sat the 2020 edition as the defending champions, however this was to come under threat by a nearly new-look Mount Pleasant side. Aside from cricket, all events were completed on the 7th of March. The competition involved 13 sports, with 4 making their debuts, with each sporting victory registering 3 points. Would Stanley lift the shield for a second successive year, or can Mount Pleasant get revenge and level the scores? The first sport contested went well for Stanley, as the Cricket Ashes 5-test series was amalgamated into the competition, which had been played throughout the summer. The decisive game came on the 16th of February, when Stanley picked up an impressive 163 runs for 4, defeating MPA by a total of 61 runs to clinch the series 3-1 and propel Stanley into an early 3-point lead. The first result of the day to come in was the 5k park run, with points being awarded from 1st to 5th. MPA's Luke Knight secured 5th, with Stanley's Chris Lewis sitting 4th. Young Stanley runner Hamish McGee collected the bronze with an impressive time of 20 minutes and 17 seconds, proving to be Stanley's best runner in this competition. MPA's Lucas Farrell took silver, and with a time of 19 minutes and 36 seconds, Rob Oates took gold, ensuring a 10-5 victory and 3 points for the visitors. The next result came from the badminton courts at the Leisure Centre. The vast experience of Stanley's badminton team certainly came to light as they faced a completely new MPA side. Stanley showed no signs of faltering from last year's victory, defeating their opponents 19-1, pushing Stanley into a 6-3 lead.
It's just nice we've got so many keen players wanting to come in and play, and it's just a really nice time to get the two communities together and have a social afterwards and have a beer and a chat about the day. You know, it'd be nice. You know, it's just a nice day.
Outside, the final whistle blew on the rugby pitch as Rugby Union made its first appearance in the Multisports series. In a best of 3, Stanley battled hard, but MPA proved decisive, taking the first game 4-1. The second was closer, with the visitors having to score 2 late tries to clinch the game 5-4 to take the rugby crown and levelling the scores 6-6.
So we're really pleased that for this year there is rugby sevens taking part today, and following on from our big community event that we had back in December, and we've got some kids rugby going on in between the games that are being played down here on the field today.
Another debutant, table tennis, made its arrival on the scene. In the first singles round, Stanley edged their opponents by 4-3. In the doubles, the hosts stretched their lead, winning 3-1, before capitalising on unforced errors from MPA in the second singles round, acquiring an overall score of 13-5, putting Stanley back into the driving seat at 9-6.
But unfortunately, we do have the lack of competition because we are quite isolated, and that makes it days like this worthwhile because there's a little bit of competition that we have, and we need that a little bit of exposure if we want to compete seriously at the next Island Games.
A crucial moment of the day as the children's cycling results came into the matchday office. The 6-kilometre on-off road route near Surf Bay was competed by 12 competitors, with the top 6 earning points for their team. MPA's Luke Holmes Sancho took 6 with a time of 23 minutes and 2 seconds, being the best representative for the visitors. The next 5 positions were dominated by Stanley, with Hayden Stanworth taking gold with a time of 19 minutes and 4 seconds, and consequently establishing a 6-point cushion for Stanley. After lunch, scores from the basketball court were first to arrive. The young side of Stanley managed to dispatch their opponents 70 points to 44, with Stanley's Richie Short scoring 16 individual points to win the Multisports basketball for the second year running.
At the moment, that's our main objective, to play in the island games, or if we will have invitational games in Chile, probably. But at the moment, that's our goal, to play in the island games. Yeah.
Moving west of Stanley, where Stanley's golfers were certainly optimistic following victory in the Falklands Gold Cup. They came up against a rejuvenated MPA side, seeking victory from last year's defeat. The teams locked horns early on as the first pairing the scores were level, 50-50. In the second and third pairing, MPA gathered momentum, winning both points. And despite some excellent golfing from Stanley's Kevin Clapham-Gordon, the scores ended 1.5 to 2.5, and MPA reducing the overall deficit to 6 points. Hockey is certainly a major sport in the Falkland Islands, and Stanley's deck hockey certainly showed their skills against the visitors. Early on, Stanley gained a foothold in the game, peppering MPA's goal. With the new domestic season scheduled to begin in the coming weeks, the occasion certainly showed a good testing ground for Stanley's hockey players, who ran out as 17-4 victors, leaving Stanley requiring just 3 more points to seal overall victory. On the football field, clinical MPA hit hard early on as Josh Philip Tarr's effort bounced over the Stanley's goalkeeper into the back of the net. Just past the half-hour mark, the visitors doubled their lead courtesy of Alex Jackson's powerful strike from the edge of the box. In the second half, Stanley started to find their rhythm and half the deficit courtesy of an Andres penalty, with the next goal proving crucial. Late on, Gary Tweedy fired a late long-range effort, ensuring MPA go back with the 3 points in the football.
It's what it's about at the minute. We're building towards Guernsey next year, and we know we've got a really talented bunch of youngsters, but we just got to wait for them to get mature enough to really take it on.
At the same time on the netball court, the hotly anticipated women's netball kicked off, with the visitors bringing in a tough roster of experienced players. The hosts began on the front foot and continued to keep pace with the visitors, leading at the halfway mark. As Stanley made significant changes to their lineup, MPA applied the pressure and hit back, running out as 35-18 victors.
We've met some really nice ladies, we've made a contact, hopefully have some more games, and all in all, yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm a massive advocate of exercise for mental health and general wellness and that sort of thing, so, you know, it can only be a good thing.
With the overall scores at 18-15, it was left to 2 more debutant sports, which would decide the outcome of the Multisports series. It was the first competition for the short mat bowls MPA and Stanley teams, with the latter only being established 1 month ago. Despite some close affairs, it was to be the host day, as Stanley ran out as 6-0 victors. The sport of indoor bouldering was introduced to the series, in which keen climbers had to ascend up 6 predetermined routes, with the first try getting 3 points, second try 2 points, and third 1 point. Stanley's Tom Harrison and Lisa Watson showed some great technique, achieving 14 and 13 points respectively, to ensure Stanley sees the day as 65-45 victors and to take the bouldering competition for the capital. With all the results in, the cumulative points added, Stanley succeeded in defending the Silver Lady Shield, defeating MPA by a total of 24 points to 15. All that was left to do was to hand out the victory medals and prizes in the company of His Excellency the Governor of the Falkland Islands, Nigel Phillips, and the Chairman of the International Island Games Association, Jorgen Pettersson.
I watched the netball with great interest. I saw a little bit of the football, and it was fantastic to see that, and also to see the camaraderie later on in the evening during the presentations, and sitting there and having dinner together and talking about failure and success. That's what life is all about.
It may be Stanley's year, but bring on the 3rd edition of the Multisports competition in 2021.
Once again to take part in this event. See you next year.